I've decided at least some of the time I need to call you, I mean, you're peeps, you are, you're guys, you're amigas, but I think you're also channelers. You know, the slipstream is a channel. I'm trying to channel your fellow channelers. You're watching this, so we're like, doing some kind of. So, fellow channelers, I mean, step into it, you know, and it's nothing I feel terrifically secure about. It just isn't. I mean, if you could see the kind of thinking that goes along behind the scenes, I think it would appall you in a certain way. There goes some hair. Um, Not appall, but phenomenal insecurity on my part in all directions. Like certain people will think this is nuts. I hold myself back from certain types of readings that might be uh, fall under the category of twin flame because you know uh, it's not. I don't think it's interpreted. My take on what that means is different, and and I think there's a lot of pandering to that uh, on the Uber channel, and because it answers a need, and at its core is a certain truth. That there are relationships that are so intense and we don't know why, but they teach us in their very challenge. Uh, uh, they show us where we need to do work. That's also, I guess, the definition of a karmic relationship. It brings up the stuff you need to work on. What relationship doesn't? That's sort of my point with the twin flame thing. I think as you get closer, I don't know. There are certain relationships that are just inexplicable. That's almost their central characteristic is like, I don't know why I feel this way. I don't know why I'm drawn to this person. And I don't want to uh, kind of glorify that confusion because it sucks. And it can be a sign of terrific dysfunction. Speaking of which, segue into dysfunction. Um, I I think it's really useful. At least it has been for me, and I suspect it's a key. It's a way in to things that formed uh, strengths and weaknesses, or blank spaces, or fiery presences in your psyche, um, and it is family. I'm such a family person. I come from a huge, complicated, extended family. So I mean, I'm in touch with all of them, and I know a lot about what went back many generations on pretty much all sides. It's crazy. So when I was talking the other day about coming into the party while it's underway, and that's life itself, I think that's in a way what we're born into is this family. It's a party underway, and we have to sort of learn on the fly not only everything about that babies have to learn, about their world and so forth, but also about the complex relationships of this primate family group. And, they're complex. Look at Diane Fossey and the gorillas. Look at Jane Goodall and the chimps. Look at anybody who studies family bonds. And it could be construed like in the ant colony is that Uber family. So interestingly enough, I was many years younger than the sibling closest to me in age. Well, 8 7 8 years. Next brother, 10-year gap. Next brother, 13-year gap. And so I would really, the party was underway. It really was in my immediate family. So I spent a lot of time trying to figure out not only uh, who am I coming into this dynamic. There are, I think, squirrels in the house, but we're going to ignore that for a minute. I had to study what's going on, what's the dynamic in this group, in this party that's already underway, because there was a lot of shit that was hitting the fan right around the time I was born. And that pattern let me figure out the dynamic, let me figure out the story that was underway when I walked in the room, when I arrived on this planet in this incarnation, when something really important happens in my life and I wake up to a wholly different situation. How do you find your footing? And that's like I'm fairly adept at that because I had to be. And it was my privilege to be. In a way, I feel like we're all in our family the receivers of stories, family stories, some of which are dependable and some are a myth that was created to compensate for, look over here. This is the story when in fact, so I was nosy in that regard. Look into the story, look into the story. I read tarot cards. I look into the story. It's my strength and my weakness. And it in a sense, in a certain way, removes me from the mix. My role, as I can identify it, is to step back and look into the ongoing dynamic. That may be bunk. That may not be healthy at all. I don't know. But that's what everybody has, sort of the root story, it seems to me, the seminal. I can tell when other people are telling me something about their life and suddenly they give an anecdote and it's like, oh shit, that's it. That's the story that informs the rest of the narrative. And I just want to say, I trust this. I trust what I'm doing here, but I'm also like always on the edge of, crazy mistrust and like, what am I doing? Is this nuts? Lovers. Major Arcana card of Gemini, of the twins. Of the twins, right? Twin flame card, if you want to call it that. And, again, my sense of what it means, twin flame, are these inexplicably strong relationships that are very often fraught. And that whatever it is you need to work out, you don't do it head on with the person. You each work out your own. You don't bring a ton of baggage to this relationship because you both have a ton of baggage. So you do the work. You do the work to the degree that you can so that you're healthy and shored up and grounded in what is the truth for you. You know your place in the scheme of things. You know your inclinations. You see your own patterns, something like that. These are the cards that come up. I'm gobsmacked. I don't know if you are too, but I mean, 10 of Cups. Lovers, 10 of Cups. For real? It's hard to believe. And it's hard to let go of the belief that this thing is real. That this thing is real. Next card up, 8 of Wands. It's a card of communication and flow, of back and forth dialogue. You know, it's a card of back and forth. You do this, I do that. You do this, I do that. You feel this. This is your passion. This is my passion. This is, it's an exchange. It's a passionate exchange with a purpose. Wands energy, passion, purpose, creativity, discovery, the truth. Sword energy, clarity of the mind. This is Gemini energy, sword energy. That is air energy, clarity of intellect, of perception. I just don't believe it. Of perception. It cannot make it up. I'm saying no. If I were to make it up, it might look like this, except it's like a story where it's too good to be true. Fool. The first card in the major arcana, the card of discovery in Wands energy. And it's also like discovery, like almost as the term is used in law, where each side you have to reveal certain things to the other side in discovery. I don't know my legal things at all, but it's like things need to be revealed in this conversation for this to move forward. Aries energy, fire energy, fire energy. This is the courage to begin. Knowing there's a degree of perilous, coming right to the edge in your psyche. Time to begin, time to take the leap. Here comes Rue. Thank you, honey. This card has come out again and again. The mastery, the work of balance. It's constant because, we're dynamic. We're not rigid like this. This would be 4 of Pentacles, nailed down, not moving, stubborn, fixed. This is not that. This is the dynamic. What do I do now? What do I do next? Which of these things matters more to its triage in a certain sense too? In this 3D situation, what do I need to do next? Weighing up different possibilities. This is like going for it, but this is, how do I step into this new reality? Oh my God. This is you, fellow channeler. This is somebody who really is in tune with their environment. They can read the room. Earth energy is all about authenticity, how we show up in the world in 3D. So she's assessing all about that 3D world and how does it reflect on the the landscape behind her, history. Pentacles speak to time. This would be the one, very family invested, like I was saying at the beginning. Deep roots. Values that connection of home, hearth, is stable and authentic, and more than anything else, real. And here we have, there is that. Did we get magician? No, I guess we didn't. But we got magician is a combo of Virgo, Gemini. This is the Gemini aspect. This is the earth energy aspect. It's almost like choosing to ground something, making a decision to make something real. Could be dealing with an earth sign, air sign dynamic. That's Rue being naughty and eating fuzz balls. Oh, please, she's sneezing. And okay, focus. This is a card of focus. It really is. Air signs are clear, they're sharp, they're analytical. It almost like what I was talking about before, somebody who stands back and looks to see family patterns. It involves a certain degree of removal. And this is more like somebody who the family is their purview. And maybe this is two aspects of yourself. Coming into balance. Because legit, Fool card often speaks to the self. It's the card of zero. It's the card of Aries. The wand energy, the personal action taking, this is my life, here I go energy. But equally here is a card of divine partnership. I don't know my archangels, so I'm not even going to speak to that. But card of the twins and a card of this back and forth business. Earth sign, air sign. Also possibly an Aries or Gemini. And this is, in twin flame or in any other relationship that matters to you, this is the risk. To boldly go into this land of deep feelings where things can hurt and you can lose people you love. Cups energy, connection, love. I do believe this was the first card out. All relationships suffer. There's suffering involved. If you're open to somebody, if your heart is open to somebody, all manner of things can slip through your hands. Feelings of regret, sadness, loss, And we're just getting repeats, so I'm going to stop. Slow, steady, forward movement. Back to earth. after this period of just being overwhelmed by sadness. This is like rallying, getting up to face it, the day again, which is an act of supreme courage. No shit, to get up out of bed and, get moving. And sometimes I greet the day with joy. More often, things hurt and I stagger around, feeding the cat and feeding myself coffee and trying to kind of get back into 3D. But, it's where we must return until we cross over, or just are such a swami we kind of, levitate and stuff. This is a grounded earth energy. This is how do I show up in daily life in a way that's authentic, that's true. Okay, just a couple more. On this 5 of Cups, the loss. I'm hearing the payoff, the payback. Wow. Wow. The payback. 10 of Pentacles. Six of Pentacles. King of Pentacles. The payback. Well, something's being restored. A tangible piece of the puzzle. Maybe as to what this, because I think as a channeler, as an intuitive, as a person who reads the energies in the room, you pick up on other people's sadness too. We're always coming into the party that's underway. And if you're an empath, you're going to, all the feelings somehow you carry, and you have to learn how to let go of both your own sadness and the sadness you've sort of inherited, or there's you're a permeable membrane in a certain way. The way water moves through the membrane. The way feelings, water energy moves through the membrane. And this is the last. We'll look at these for a minute, but I'm just going to turn this over because it could go on all day, all the lifetime long. This is a life partner energy. This is sort of the full Monty, the full bore, the full catastrophe, as Zorba the Greek said of the family. This is a legacy, inheritance, both to good and ill. Because we're in the receiving end of both this and this. Over time, Pentacles energy, things balance out. Nature loves a balance. There's a law that says, make it equal, equilibrium. Let's get this into balance, one way or another. And sometimes the way it gets into balance looks very dysfunctional. And again, it's sort of a bit of taking on in 3D, in your own life, other people's sadness. So there does need to be a boundary. I don't see cards of boundary anywhere, because I mean you're in this mode of open-hearted. Nine of Swords was underneath. So there's some anxiety around, will it work this time? I'm risking, in a way, everything. My whole self. You know, is there an element of foolishness to that? This is almost like, what are the odds? But I think there's no choice but to step into the 3D element. I mean, when does life begin? At every moment, there's an opportunity for this. To embark on that fool's journey, the life, you know, the journey that's beyond 3D, but expresses through what you can get your hands on through the 3D stuff. It's also a journey in your psyche, and in both people's psyches. And particularly if you're linked like this to somebody, and you're both coming with these complex family stories. I think you both have big, complicated, complicated families. Bless your heart. So there's a lot to make sure in that twin flamey sense that you do the work of coming into balance yourself. And then you come into balance with the other person. You don't go into the relationship all wanked. Don't do that. You know, even the universe is saying, we bless unions that are balanced, and there's again that discovery aspect. Out into the world. Out of the garden you go, into 3D. Make the most of it. This is your time. This is your time. All these cards of time, of roots, of family, of authenticity. There's a match on the board. And I don't think this is an outlier. You know, it's weird that I said liar, but, I think this is an aspect of you, in fact. Of that overview clarity, the ability to see patterns in families, in your family, in their family. And I don't think you force your story on anybody. I don't think you say, although it may be tempting given your position of figure out the family, figure out the pattern, I don't think you're going to try to usurp your partner's need to discover for themselves their own story, their own narrative. The fool's evolving story of how you get to wholeness, completion, yin yang, balanced energies, step by step toward clarity. And I think this is something you've discovered. You've seen it clearly. You know, the dynamic and your role in the dynamic. Shazam, good on you. Yeah, That's about it. Do like this if you would. This establishes the channel, right? This is your channel. If you're watching this, if you come back regularly to see this, this is yours. This is ours. This is ours. Where's that 10 of Pentacles? Well, I know it was on the board. Now I can't see it. Here we go. It's the tiniest card there, but such a strong one. This is ours. We constitute a collective. Your fellow channelers in this collective. It's a good place to be. Thank you. See you next time.